I run this session every Wednesday evening. We used to run at lunchtime UK time. We've now moved to evening. It's a 45-minute session. It's a very quick session, but the whole point of this is really to introduce either people who don't know anything about neuro-linguistic programming, or people who are NLP trained, who are looking to find ways of using NLP for business and coaching. This is what we're here to do. So what I do is I share something each week. Today it's all about time management. And then we go into the breakout rooms. You get about 8 minutes in the breakout room. Gives you a chance just to connect, say hello, and maybe discuss a little bit about what we've covered. We come back and I tell you about some of the things I have available. What we're actually got today that I'm giving you an offer on is The Art of Managing Your Time Effectively, which is a self-learning course. So there's a 50% discount on that, but we'll send you the details of that later on. Okay. And those of you who are NLP trained and want to further your NLP skills for business and coaching, we also have the NLP Business Circle Club that's been running for 3 years now, and we've got details of that we can send to you. I've been working with NLP for business for over 30 years, business and coaching. And for me, I really think we're just getting to the stage now, at last, where businesses are starting to understand the skills that we can bring for communicating and motivating and influencing people. Okay, so let's get started. There's no handout for here, so if you want to take photographs of the slides, that's absolutely key. Managing your time effectively. When we're looking at managing time, you're looking at managing yourself, managing your work environment, and managing your relationships. The full self-learning course goes into this in so much more details because there's only so much that I can cover in 15 minutes. The first technique that I'm going to show you is working with language, working with NLP, working with what we know as time distortion. I've been working, as I said, with NLP for over 30 years, but I come from a business background. I was in sales for 25 years, working with companies such as Xerox and Yellow Pages. I have trained thousands of business professionals, and I've done a lot of time management training for companies. And plus, the people I coach very often were looking at time management. So this is why this really fits in with some of the work we're doing with NLP coaching. There's one thing that every single person I have ever worked with has in common. And when I actually discovered this, I went, I can't believe this. We all know that all behavior comes from a thought. Am I correct? Those of you who are NLP trained, we now know. And the lovely thing, I'm seeing everyone all doing that. The lovely thing is neuroscience has proven that all behavior comes from a thought. How do we pay attention to our thoughts? We pay attention to our thoughts through our self-talk. So guess what everyone who has got problems with time is doing? They're telling themselves they have no time. And when I realized this, I went, oh, for goodness sake, you can spend days on time management courses, but there's actually only one technique for me that makes a huge difference. So there's this is time distortion. This is actually a way of perceiving time differently. And it's not, as I said to you, every person I've worked with tells themselves no time. But some people think this is a bit woo. They go, how can this work, right? Time is man-made. Who has ever been in a meeting and you go, oh, goodness, when's this going to finish? You've sat someplace or you've been in a queue and you look at the clock and it goes, that's a second. It's just time has stood still. And then there's other times you go, oh, how can that be 3 o'clock? Where's the day gone? So all we're doing with this technique is we're harnessing what was happening naturally with our brain. And believe me, this works. And it works in ways that absolutely has blown my mind because it has worked when I've been traveling. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. So instead of telling yourself I have no time, change this to I have all the time in the world within the time I have to complete blah, whatever it is, easily. So let me give you a specific example. I have all the time in the world within the next hour to finish this report. I have all the time in the world within the next 3 hours to prepare my presentation. I have all the time in the world within the next 10 minutes to get myself ready and out of the house. I have all the time in the world within. So the important thing is I have all the time in the world, then give a very specific time for that. Now, where that has also worked for me that I just have not been able to believe is once upon a time, I used to be in sales traveling around Scotland. Used to do about 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month. And very often I was going to appointments, hundreds of miles driving to an appointment. Or I could have been going from Glasgow to Edinburgh. And the Glasgow to Edinburgh road is well known for being heavy traffic. I've done this down south, I've done this in Dubai, I've done this in the Middle East, any place I've been driving where there's been real heavy traffic. I've said to myself, I have all the time in the world within now and 2 o'clock to get to my appointment, or whatever time my appointment was. And the interesting thing has been, I would say 99.9% of the time I've done this, it's worked. Why do you think it works when you're driving? And I get feedback from clients saying it works when they're driving as well. What happens when you go into a road rage or stress state? The prefrontal cortex closes down. And when your prefrontal cortex closes down, what happens? You can't think straight. That little space that opens up in front of you, you don't see. And just by being calmer, you drive in a more calm way and you actually find a flow. It's quite interesting. You find a flow. No, I'll never get out of this traffic. I'll never get out of this traffic. You're absolutely right. Okay, I've all the time in the world within the time I have. It just puts you into that relaxed state where you start to notice opportunities to get there. And the 0.1% that has not happened, I've always been able to call someone and say, I'm stuck here. There's something happened. We're not moving. Traffic's not moving, which is okay. But I'm not putting myself into a stress state. So I invite you to try this. In fact, will we do an experiment? Get time to do a quick wee experiment. So what I want you to just imagine tonight. Now, some of you are, I'm just looking around, seeing where people are. Some of you, it's nighttime. Some of you, it's morning. Some of you, it's really late. So let's work with tomorrow. Tomorrow, you will have all the time in the world within the time you wake up to the time you go to bed tomorrow night. You will have all the time in the world within the time you have. The day will go by so slowly. Every minute will seem like an hour. Every second will seem like a minute. You'll be amazed at how slow time goes, and you'll have all the time in the world within the time you have to do everything you need to do easily, effortlessly, in a wonderfully relaxed way. Now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it'd be really nice for people if they start to notice they've got a lot more time tomorrow. Report it back next week. Let us know from next week. I bring this into all my training. I bring it right into the beginning of the NLP, the Dual Certificate Business Practitioner, Business Coach. And what we do is we set up everyone at the end of the training day, and we do a little bit of relaxation. Everyone's eyes closed. You will have all the time in the world between now and coming back tomorrow. And most people report they can't believe how much more time they've got, especially after coming off a training day. Most people are exhausted when they come off a training day. And people say, I did this and I did that. And I've actually done it sometimes where I've set it up. And it's quite funny. I'll have to redo this in my head tomorrow because I'm traveling tomorrow. I don't want to have a big, long travel that goes on for hours and hours and hours. So I will bypass that. But just play with it and teach it to people. It's really important to teach because it's helping people understand they've got no time because they're creating the sense or the perception of no time with what they're saying to themselves. So we've got Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states that work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion. In other words, if you have an hour or a day to complete a report, you will take the time given. This is why for time management, It's really important to set goals, and goals that very timely, smart goals that can't keep being changed. I know some of you know I've set a specific goal. I'm not going to say what the subject is, but I've set a specific goal and I've not been held accountable to a certain time. That the people I'm working with their time's fluid, and it's actually created my time being fluid on it. So setting very strict, timely goals for yourself can help you with time. You've got to use time or lose it. If I said to you, you've got £86,400 or $86,400 every day, and you've got to spend it every day, how would you get on with that? Would you be able to spend that every single day, consistently? It would start to get difficult. So you've got to bank it. You've got to invest it. You've got to do different things. Guess what? We have 86,400 seconds in every day. So time must be invested to save time in future. Those of you who manage teams and you have to delegate, I was actually working with some people today about delegation. And to delegate things, you've got to take time to train people up in what it is you're doing. You can't just hand people stuff and say, do that. You've got to take time to train people and get people up to speed so they feel really comfortable about being delegated to. So that takes time, but in the long run, that saves a lot of time. So sometimes people make that false saving of time. Oh, I'm quicker doing it myself. Yeah, in the short term, you might be quicker doing it yourself. But what do you think happens to leaders and managers who are, they keep doing more and more stuff because they don't take the time to stop? Also for businesses, those of you who are running your own business or those of you who are involved in a business, you've got to take time to step back. You've got to take time to really do some planning. Planning, we've got in the business, and in the business is your day-to-day work, and on the business is when people take the time, they're not getting involved in day-to-day tasks, they take time out and they use that time, they invest that time to be able to plan and be strategic. So again, it's helping your clients understand the importance of being able to invest time. Time must be invested to be able to save time in the future. And then we've got the parental principle, 80-20 rule. Some of you may know this. 20% of staff make 80% of revenue. That's a well-known fact. 20% of products and services generate 80% of income. 20% of customers generate 80% of sales. 20% of factory errors cause 10%, 80% of rejects. 20% of meeting time results in 80% decisions. 20% items to read on your desk, 80% of the information you need to know. Only 20% of the things you spend your time on doing produces 80% of the results you want to achieve. So the secret is to ask yourself, what's my 20%? And then spend more time focusing on the things that get you the results. The number of times I work with people who are setting up their own business or developing their own business, and they're just not getting things going. And when you ask them, how much time are you spending actually on income generating tasks? Oh, well, no, I've got to do my research. I've got to do a nice website. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But is that bringing you an income? No. So maybe it's time to put your focus more onto the things that's actually bringing you in your income. Because believe it or not, people don't get business from a fancy website. You can make your website as nice as you like. People bring your business with the results you get and talking to other people. That's where that comes from. So it's, where do you focus your energy? Where are you going to get the most for the time you've got? Identify the key 20% activities that are most effective, producing 80% of the results, and make sure you prioritize those activities. Who coaches here? Just put your hand up if you coach. Let's see the coaches that are in them. Okay, so coaching. I know that every single person I coach, there's always a time management element in coaching, and that's why that's in here. But you've got to look and see what's going to make the biggest shift for your client. And that's what they're going to be focusing on. You can help them to focus on the things that will make the biggest shift for them. We know sometimes that people setting up their own business want to dive in and set up their own business, but they realise they don't have the funding to continue to do that. So they've got to go and get a job again. And lots of people, I've done it, and most of the people I work with have done it at some point. So sometimes people have got to, okay, building my business is nice, but my focus is getting a job. Or it could be, I keep taking associate work, I keep taking contract work, but actually I'm ready now to build my business. So sometimes you've got to step away from the things that are quite safe, but things that can end up feeling like a job because you're just taking it for the. So again, it's helping your client identify where's their 20% that's going to get the biggest shift in what they're doing and help them focus much more on that 20%. And then we've got to look at time thieves. Who is stealing your time? Who or what, sorry, is stealing your time? Time thieves, anything that decreases your productivity and effectiveness. Anything that causes you to shift your focus away from your number one priority. Now, one of the things that can be a really good time thief is if you like helping people and someone's asking for help for something and you keep getting pulled in to do things for other people, sometimes you've got to be a little bit selfish and say, no, my stuff comes first. I'll help you once my stuff's done. But some of the things that, now these particular time thieves that we're looking at, this is what happens in business. We're looking at business leaders and people working in business, the type of clients that we coach, drop-in visitors, the telephone, badly managed meetings, wasting time, waiting time, travel time. Waiting time could be waiting to get into an office for a meeting or something. Confused responsibility, people not being clear as to what their responsibility is and who they report into. Lack of standards and progress reports. So things, if processes and procedures aren't clear, then that can waste time. Authority. People that are in authority that come in and start wasting everyone else's time by just jumping in and demanding things being done, and everyone's got to jump to attention. So sometimes you've got to teach leaders, whose time are you stealing just by walking about being the boss and telling people what to do? Unclear communication. And we know with NLP, one of the things that we really do, we work with advanced communication skills. Unskilled staff, people that expecting people to do things that don't have the skills to be able to do it. What we're doing here in the course, I go tell you ways that you can cover all of that. But just today, we're looking at how do you deal with drop-in visitors? Okay, so one of the ways is you can close your door and have a note saying when you'll be available. I've actually got a client now who noticed he was actually listening to podcasts and he's got the big headphones. And he noticed that when he had his headphones on, no one came into his office, even if the door was open. No one came and asked him anything. So what we said, we'd use that as a strategy. And we said, okay, stick your headphone. You don't have to listen to a podcast. If you want to get on with something, just stick your headphones on. And he came back and he's been doing this for 6 months now. He said, everyone keeps asking me about these podcasts. And I was, oh yeah, I'm learning loads. But he's not, he's getting on with his work. He's just putting his headphones on. So a very good way, especially as lots of companies are quite happy with people to use noise cancelling headphones now. Stand up and keep standing when your visitor walks in. Stand up and just keep standing. Because what are you doing when you're standing up? What signal are you giving? You're moving, okay? If you're sitting down, you come in for it. And again, be careful of language. Come in for a chat. What have you just done? You've just invited someone to come in and sit and chat. Rather than stand up, say, okay, how can I help you? What's the situation? How can I help you? So very often your own state or your client state, teaching your client. And then greet your visitor and explain you're working towards a deadline. Let them know what you're doing and let them know, okay, I can give you 3 minutes, I can give you 5 minutes, and keep to that time. Set a time limit for the visit. Make an appointment for a more convenient time. I'm right in the middle of something. I'd love to be able to help you just now. I'll be finished. Now, never say I'll be finished in 2 minutes. If you say to me, I'll be finished in 2 minutes, I do that. And I go into screensaver mode because I'm waiting for that 2 minutes to be up, because 2 minutes is not enough time for me to go on with anything else. So I take that literally. So say to some, right, I'm going to be I'm in the middle of this, will be 3 hours. Come back to me at 3 o'clock. Now, always say, come back to me. Because the number, especially new managers who go running round their offices looking for people who came to their office. And then by the time they spent 2 hours trying to find them, or 20 minutes trying to find them, and they get them, say, okay, so what was it you wanted? Oh, it's okay, I've sorted it. So always get someone to come back, and very often they won't even come back to you. Walk towards the door as you acknowledge and summarize. Take people to the door. Who's ever done that? If it's done well, you suddenly, I've had it done to me many. As a sales rep, you get it done many times. People are escorting you to the door. You've just been walked out this office and I didn't even notice I was doing. We just take them towards the door. Thank you very much. Then close the door behind them. And that person, it's showing that you're getting on with your thing, whatever it is to do. Rearrange your office layout. Now, this might apply to some of you here, but very often this is more to your clients. If your client's desk is right in front of an open door and you're facing the open door, people are just going to come and interrupt you all the time. So move the desk maybe to the side. Or move the desk to, some people work very well. I do. I work very well working against a wall, but I have a mirror against my wall. But I will sit with my back towards anyone coming to interrupt. So again, looking at the environment, how can you change the environment? And then go to their office so you're in control when they leave. So they come in, and if you've got, okay, let's go to your office, and you just walk them, and that means you've taken control of the scenario. Or this one I love, ask them to help you with your work. Oh, brilliant, you're here, can you help me with this? Oh, and watch them run. So again, it's using creativity. And when we're working with NLP, we're working with language and behavior. So we're looking at different ways we can use language and behavior. Okay, so before we go in to tell you about the course, what I'd like you to do is go into, I'm just going to set up the breakout rooms. So any comments with that? Who, or should I say, who's got a comment about that? There you go, that's different. Who's got a comment about that? Or something that you want to share, or something about time management that you would like to talk about?
I'll chip in to answer your question there, Fiona.
Thank you, Colin.
The one about closing your door or putting your headphones on. There was a lady who used to work in an open plan office, and we had the same sort of issue for her. She was always getting, because she was there, that was it, she was available to everybody. So what she designed was a cane with a red tennis ball on, and they had those kind of vanity privacy things on the end.
Yes.
And when she said, whenever that's there, leave me be.
Yes.
And she just worked, and as long as the people knew in the office, that was it. And that worked. So you can do it in an open plan as well.
Yes, and things that you can have a little flag. Yeah. Some people have got flags that has gone up, or if you're especially open plan, you're in your booth, there can be something that can go up. So yes, you're right, doesn't. So you don't need a physical door, but again, it's communicating to people that you can't be disturbed. Now, the reason you don't want to be disturbed is if you're doing mind work, and a lot of people working, especially leaders, are paid to use their mind. If you're using mind work, we now know from neuroscience, if you get interrupted in a train of thought, it can take between 3 and 5 hours to get back into that train of thought. So how much time is getting wasted because you might feel a little bit embarrassed to say, please don't interrupt me. So again, thank you for that, Colin. It's having the confidence and teaching your clients the confidence to say, please don't interrupt. Okay, so I'm going to open all the rooms. Minutes. Go and say hello to each other. I'll put the recording on pause just now. Okay, I love when we close the breakout rooms and nobody wants to come back. Yeah. Everyone says, can we not stay longer? That's when we do the NLP Business Circle Club. We're actually 2 hours, so you get plenty of time there. Okay, so very quickly, let me get 1 or 2 people, just get some feedback. What are you taking away from this session? Who wants to go first? Okay, Karen, thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm new. Hi, Fiona. This is my first time here. So great to be here. I was with Vladimira and David, and we just reflected on the value of NLP within our businesses, but also both were a big champion of yours, Fiona, in respect of the agility, I think, and the agile nature of your support for people here, whether it's in subject matter, which is what attracted me to this session this evening, and that kind of longer term investment in understanding what people need in respect of their businesses, but also from an NLP perspective in their coaching or whatever line of work they're in. So great connection with people. Okay. So thanks, Fiona.
Thank you. And as most people that have ever trained with you will say, I have made NLP as simple as possible. I'm a great believer in make things simple and make things applicable. So you can actually, and the number of people that I have taught in business, I have all the time in the world within the time I have to do whatever. They don't even know it's a language technique, it's a language and mind technique, but it works. And it works very well. All right, Julie, thank you. And Julie's driving, so she's not coming onto camera.
I parked outside Tesco's now, I'm safe.
All right.
No, I just wanted to say, like, those, even you just said it there yourself, you make NLP simple. I think that's why I love the course I did with you in May and June. And even those it's the practical tips. Maybe I'm a practical person, but saying things about organizing your environment and those little standing up when someone comes in, those things are just so simple, but so amazing.
And the thing is, people sometimes have to be almost given permission to do that.
Yeah.
You mean you can actually stand up? Of course you can. And very often what we forget is the unconscious, because remember, 70 to 80% of our communication is non-verbal. So we can, if you're sitting there looking really relaxed and welcoming, someone's not going to be in a hurry to leave. So people don't know very often the unconscious signals that they're giving. And there'll be other people who you go into someone's office and straight out again. And we know why you would come. We know what's happening because that person's maybe set up such a state of don't interrupt me. And you don't want to interrupt them. So this is where, as you say, the NLP tips and techniques regarding language and behavior are huge, because NLP is the methodology of how we create behavior, not why we create behavior. It's basically software. It's software for the mind. So we break down how people can do things. We don't need to ask them why they're doing things. Okay, thank you very much, Julie, and lovely to be back in touch with you again. Let me just give you details time effectively. This is it's a self-learning. I'm starting to do some self-learning courses now. Now, can I say, if you joined the Professional Growth Club, do not buy this because you've already got it. We've closed the Professional Growth Club down, but everyone still has access to all the courses that were there. You already have this. The course format we've got is you can access the course either via a mobile app or your desktop. There's 9 modules in both video and audio. There's one writable PDF workbook, and I've really expanded the writable PDF workbook. So there's lots of exercises in there that are on top of the videos. And then there's a knowledge quiz, and you get a certificate of completion. The course modules are thinking about your time, setting smart goals, planning your goals, prioritizing time, blocking time, overcoming procrastination, creating time, clearing clutter, learning to say no. So that's everything that's in there. Now that is normally $97, and we've got 50% discount for January. Okay, the link is in the chat. So just go on that link, and I will be sending the link out to everyone who has joined tonight. Now, there's the NLP Business Circle Club. The Business Circle Club, it's 2 3-hour live masterclasses each month, Second Tuesday, which is 12 till 2 UK time. Fourth Thursday of the month, it's 1900 to 2100 UK time. Live practice sessions and coaching. We normally have 40 minutes to an hour live practice each masterclass. You've got the video, audio and workbook archives right through all the masterclasses since 2020. The VIP NLP Business Circle Club community, which is launching next week. It's like a mini LinkedIn. So all our members will be able to talk to each other. They'll be able to go onto live videos. We're going to be doing lots of ad hoc Q&A sessions. There'll be different challenges and everything there. 30% members discount on all my courses and coaching, and that is $97 a month. So thank you very much. Next week, we are working with, now what is it? It's change the way you think about imposter syndrome. So we're going to be covering imposter syndrome. And in 15 minutes, we'll just be looking at change the way you think about imposter syndrome. And yeah, it's a really nice subject. Look forward to see if anyone wants to ask or have a chat, just hang on here. If not, we'll see you next week. And again, spread the word, let people know about it, because we're really starting to build up. And I'm really enjoying the fact that I'm now, there's more people can come on now because we're not doing this in the middle of the day. Okay, nice big round of applause. And yeah.
Thank you.